Okay, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how you can create a login screen for your database. Now, in order to, the prerequisite for being able to create a login screen is you've got to have a form which you're going to log into if they get it correct. So you've got to make sure that you've got some form that you can go to once the login is correct. So first thing we need to do is we need to create another form that will load up initially when the database is selected. Now I'm going to select blank form. I'm going to jump into design view, and our login screen, a simple login screen, has a username and a password. So we'll need two text boxes for us to enter that information into, and then a button that we click on to check whether the information entered is correct, and then we can make a decision on whether they're going to go into the system or they're not. So I'm going up here. You can hover over these if you're not sure which control is which, but I'm going to select two text boxes, one over here. I'm just going to drag this along a bit. You can make yours a little bit neater than mine, but for the purpose of the demonstration, I'm just going to keep it fairly bog standard. So I've got a username there, and underneath that I'm going to have a password option. And then finally underneath I'm going to need a button to check. We don't want to do anything with that at the moment. I'm just going to rename that to submit. Okay, so in the view for the user, we get that. We get username, we get password, and then they're going to click on a button. It doesn't do anything at the moment because we haven't programmed the button to do anything. So what do we want to do? Well, we want to program the button to check what's happening in these two boxes over here. And then if it matches what we want it to do, then it can carry on. And if it doesn't match, then we need to tell the user it doesn't match. Now, this box has a name. It's called text0. And this box also has a name, and it's called text2. They're important things to remember. We want to code the button, so I'm going to right click on the button. We're going to build an event behind the button, and we're going to write some code. So I'm going to select code builder, and eventually it comes up to a screen that looks like this. You still got a database in the background. It's just added a Visual Basic front end. And what it's saying here is when I click on command 4, and command 4 is this button over here, you can see command 4. What do you want to happen? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to check do the things in these two boxes match. So we do that using an if statement. So if that box, which is called text0, is equal to let's say let's do teacher. Okay, and that box, which is text2 is equal to password. Okay, then what do we want to happen? So if it is correct, well, what we then want to happen is we want to get rid of this form, and we want to open the form teacher data. So we want to do what we call a command. So we do that by typing in do.cmd. So we want to do a command, and we just want to close this form. So this login form, which let me just save, will close, and we want to do command, and we want to open another form, and the form that we want to open is called form teacher data. So spell this correctly, get your uppercase and lowercase right. Form teacher data, and we just got to put that in speech marks. Okay, so if they get it correct, it's going to close and it's going to let them into the system. If they get it wrong, so else, what happens if they get it wrong? Well, if they get it wrong, then we just want a message box to appear. So we just do msg.box for message box, and in there we just put an appropriate message, incorrect username or password. Okay, and then we just want to close it off, and there we are. So if that is correct, do that. Otherwise, do that. You've got to get the syntax right for this. You've got to make sure you know which are capital letters and which are not, otherwise it won't work. I'm just going to close that, and then I'm just going to go into design view, form view for the customer, and then let's type in something wrong. So if I put in student password submit, it'll say incorrect username password, so it's in the second part of the if statement. And if they get it correct, teacher and password submit, it says you're going to save changes, it's fine. That'll close the login form and open into form teacher data. And that's how you create a simple if statement to log into a system.